If you were sent back in time several hundred years, what would you do? Would you survive and thrive using the knowledge of the future to build your own kingdom? Or would you die of the plague because you forgot to wash your hands? Well, now you can find out. Welcome to PastMaster, the show where we go back in time armed with nothing but the knowledge in our heads and our AI Game Master as our guide. Will we become masters of the past? Let's find out. My name is Ryan Mulcrone, and with me as always is Tan Parsons and Keon Dadgostar.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Ryan.
How's it going, gents?
All good, man. All good.
Yeah?
Yeah, loving the sunshine. Just mowing my lawn for the first time ever.
My lawn is about the size of this table. So because I've got chickens in the garden, they've taken over half the garden, and then we've got gravel, and then I wanted to keep a little patch of grass so that the dog had somewhere to go. But what I've ended up with is basically like a 2 meter by 1 meter patch of lawn that it just overgrows. And I insisted to my wife that we need a lawnmower for this tiny patch of lawn. And I just feel really ridiculous every time I have to go and cut it. It takes about 30 seconds.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Should we do an intro that doesn't involve loads of lawn chat? Sorry, I don't know why I went there.
I mean, our intro chats have not been great. There was the chat about DIY, which I cut from the edit.
It's all right, we're just loosening up. So also, I'm super excited because this is actually our first time back in the studio since the podcast went live.
Yeah.
It's been...
The crowds are loving it. All three of them.
No, come on. There's at least... There's a... We're in double figures.
Certainly double figures. It's been really good, thrilling really, to get some really good feedback, some nice reviews, and above all, loads of suggestions for things we could do with our future adventures. So sort of where we're going to go, how we could change the prompt to change the mission at the start of our adventures and so on like that. So I think it's been super exciting. Shall I give us a couple of examples of bits of feedback?
Who's been saying good things about us, Tan?
So, James Kinsey Jones says it's excellent stuff and he's loving the chemistry.
Thanks, James.
One of his bits of feedback is that he would like us to change the prompt to make our missions a bit harder.
Yeah, I feel that. It's been a little bit easy so far.
It is beginner mode.
Yeah.
If it was a real game. And I think if you think about it, like when you play a computer game, you start on beginner mode, then you move up to intermediate. So we are going through those motions.
Yeah.
In the right order.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's echoed some other feedback we've had. So we are going to be in future probably tinkering with it, making it harder. Is that right, Ryan?
Sunil was like, it's a relentless surge to victory last week.
Yeah.
So
my friend Ben Smith from Australia, Ben's suggestion was that we have, this is me paraphrasing, that we have more of a mission-based approach. So you might try and stop something bad from happening on a specific date or area or time. And he would love to see us go back to Jeffrey Epstein's paedophile island with Prince Andrew and basically try and disrupt their nefarious activities and bring them to justice.
I don't know where to start with that. I think ChatGPT would really struggle to do that justice.
I think ChatGPT would probably be a bit embarrassed. Would you survive and thrive or leave a cultural legacy?
What would be the mission, to sort of like smoke them out and
I
be
think
like,
so, yeah, bring them to justice.
Yeah,
put an end to it all. So that's definitely an interesting idea.
We'll put that on the list.
Interesting.
It's on the
Thanks for
list.
the suggestion.
Very much on the list. We've had a bunch of other ones. One I do want to highlight is Christopher Mason from Exeter, who, among with various good ideas, says he would love to see us journey back to what he calls Jesus time. And that's...
Is that the official title?
That's the official era. Yeah,
Jesus time. Learn about Jesus time in school, yeah.
I thought that was every Sunday, isn't it?
Every Sunday is Jesus time.
What time is it? Jesus time.
And I have to say, that's always sort of intrigued me. Like one of my, if I could go back anywhere, I would love to meet Jesus and see what he was all about and see what he really looked like. See if he was a chilled out entertainer, like I imagine, or if he was a bit didactic and preachy. Yeah, maybe somewhere in the middle.
I feel like we could maybe, as a spin-off, because it always seems to introduce you to historical characters, like Charles Darwin in a pub or whatever. Like, I wonder if we should do a side episode, or in the middle of a playthrough, ask it to do we're sitting around a table, and Jesus is there, Darwin's there,
like a mashup, like fantasy dinner party type thing, where who are your 4 favourite celebrity dinner guests? You have to just meet them.
Yeah,
quite good fun.
I worry that ChatGPT would struggle to make that good.
I don't think ChatGPT would be a great dinner host. It would just be like, say all the wrong things, loads of faux pas,
and then it would apologise.
It would be saying sorry constantly. Yeah.
So anyway, I had a little play around with the Jesus time
Okay.
adventure at home, and
So you got another one of your Tan specials.
Yeah,
We need to come
I've
up with a name.
rustled another special for you.
Do we need a little jingle for a Tan special?
Tan special, we probably
Yeah,
do.
I think so.
So this one goes out to you, Chris Mason. Keon, over to you as game master.
Let's go. Welcome to PastMaster, adventurer. Now, let's begin. You have been chosen to travel back in time to a different historical period. Your mission is to navigate the challenges of survival in the past while using your knowledge of the present to your advantage. Before we start, may I know your name and which period you would like to travel to?
And I've just gone and playing it very straight back this time. My name is Tan.
Oh.
And on this occasion, I would like to visit Galilee circa 25 AD.
Now, is that because you were thinking, better not call myself Tanimus Maximus, because Roman times, people might not like you.
Yeah, exactly. That might be the occupying forces.
Yeah.
Just keep it simple. A Tan, fairly sort of neutral name, I suppose.
And what I've noticed here as well is it's actually giving you the chance to say who your name, like say who you are.
Yeah.
Often it's gone through a whole long spiel.
Yeah.
And it's gone like, can I have your name? Okay, great. Now, so where would you like to go? Here are
Yeah.
your options. And it's actually said,
It's been quite civil this time, hasn't
Yeah.
it? Just like, let me get on with
I
it.
actually, with the prompt, tried several times to stop it doing that, and I don't know why it does it.
Yeah.
Like, I've tried to have the prompt wait till the person says the name before proceeding,
Yeah.
and then once it just typed back in, and now I'm waiting, and it still carried on going.
Yeah, it sometimes has the feel of a demented robot that's just eager to get things done.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems maybe it's learning. Artificial
it's getting-
intelligence.
its social skills are picking up. It's like, oh, right, I have to wait for a response when I ask a question. So,
Yeah. Otherwise, the humans will be angry with me
Yeah,
again.
yeah. Welcome, Tan, to the land of Galilee, circa 25 AD. You find yourself in a bustling market square surrounded by people dressed in robes and sandals. The scent of spices and fresh bread fills the air, and the sound of vendors hawking their wares echoes all around you.
I'm getting a definite scent, the smells,
Yeah.
the sounds. Yeah,
Nice.
very definitely biblical.
As you take in your surroundings, you realize you have been sent back in time to the period of Jesus Christ. You could choose to accumulate wealth or leave a lasting legacy, but remember that your ultimate goal is to win the game. So what would you like to do first, Tan?
I think I was quite hungry when I was playing this. So I just spoke from the heart and I said, surreptitiously steal some bread from one of the market stalls to take the edge off my hunger.
As you approach one of the market stalls, you quickly grab a loaf of bread and slip it into your bag. However, as you turn and leave, you feel a hand on your shoulder.
Uh-oh.
Is it going to be Jesus? Not so fast. I can see everything. No. The owner of the stall, a burly man with a bushy beard. What do you think you're doing, friend? He asks sternly. You realize you have been caught in the act of stealing and must quickly come up with a convincing excuse or face the consequences. What do you say, Tan?
So in trouble immediately.
Yeah.
A little side note here that I quite like that a lot of the NPCs in this seem to have bushy beards or bushy
burly.
moustaches, and they're all quite burly.
Yeah.
They're all, they do love he loves a burly man, ChatGPT.
There's very rarely you come across a skinny bloke in in this game. Anyway,
Also, can we just take a moment to appreciate Keon's first accent?
yes, voice acting.
Oh, I thought that was going to
Brilliant.
go unnoticed then.
No, it's superb. Enjoyed it very much. So what do I do when I've got this hand on my shoulder?
Yeah.
And I said, I'd use sleight of hand to make it look like I had turned one loaf into two loaves and give them both back to the stall owner. I know Jesus' trick with the bread and fishes went down well, so I'm hoping this bread-themed magic trick will get a good response. A little side note here to any listeners who are Christian or religious. This isn't intended to be a blasphemous episode. It's merely exploratory.
Okay.
And I should also say I studied religious studies in A-level.
I swear I'm not trying to be blasphemous.
Yeah.
But one of the it was kind of in two parts. One was slight diversion. But one was about the Christian Reformation in Europe, and one was about the New Testament, and particularly like the Gospel of Luke. And it was like super interesting. It wasn't like traditional religious studies. It was
Theology?
kind of like theology, I guess, and it was like looking at the Bible as a historical text,
Yeah.
and how has it been distorted, how has it been changed, how is it an allegory, etc. And it was kind of like more like history than religious studies, I would say, but with a particular theme. And it just captured my imagination. So I have always wanted to, meet Jesus, and now I can.
So that you were basically trying to fulfill this long
Long-held ambition, exactly. So thank you. If you're listening, Mrs. Austin, thank you very much. You inspired me all those years ago.
She's not listening, right?
Sorry, slight diversion.
No,
So yeah, I'm trying to convince them that it's just a friendly magic trick.
Yes, so go on.
I was going to say
the same question as me.
Well, no. Are you trying to exploit the fact that this crowd is sort of, they're warmed up to, they've seen these kind of things before. They might be used to it. Is your strategy going to be to? Are you going to try and out Jesus?
I don't think I really knew at this point. I was just like fumbling around blindly in Galilee, just trying to get a sense of who I am and what I can get away with.
Okay. So there is an era when you were going to leave a lasting legacy. I mean, you've got high competition.
You really got to make your mark.
Yeah, going to outdo. Yeah. Explain this magic trick then. So you've got one loaf.
I've got one loaf. I haven't really explained it, but I've just said I'm going to use sleight of hand to make it appear like I've turned one into two loaves.
Like break it in half
and be like, hey. More for everyone. Yeah.
Right.
Because they've seen miracles. They know what is. They like that stuff.
Well, let's see what happens. So you quickly recall a magic trick you learned and decide to try your luck. With a deft sleight of hand, you appear to have turned one loaf of bread into two, and you offer them both back to the stall owner. The owner looks at you skeptically for a moment, but then his eyes widen in amazement. Well, I'll be. That's some trick, he explains, impressed by your magical prowess. The consistency of accents has already gone.
That's part of the fun.
For a second, I thought you were going to go like, Southern America.
Oh, yeah, they did sound like that, didn't they? Yeah. You got a real talent there, friend. I could use someone like you around here. It's all the same person. You realise that you might not be wise to continue stealing, as it could lead to trouble later on. What would you like to do next, Han?
I asked the stall owner what sort of thing he has in mind for me, because he's just asked, he said, you've got a real talent there and he could use someone like me. So I'm just saying, what sort of thing have you got in mind for me?
The stall owner looks you up and down and nods thoughtfully. Well, I could use some help around here. I'm getting old and it's not easy running this store by myself. You seem like a hard worker and you've got a good head on your shoulders. I could use someone like you to help me out with the business.
It's interesting that he's pinned me as a hard worker rather than someone who just steals
bread. You stole
bread.
something, you gave it back to him.
This guy knows how to graft.
He's a grafter.
Yeah.
So it's already got a positive spin on my
yeah.
bad behaviour. Anyway.
So he gestures this towards the various goods on display, including spices, bread, and pottery. I could use someone to help me keep track of the inventory or all the exciting jobs, restock the shelves, and maybe even help out with sales. Of course, I can't pay you much, but I can offer you a room and board and a place to sleep in the back of the store. What would you like to do?
So I will accept the job for now.
Yeah.
And then I've sort of broken from the game a bit here and I've asked ChatGPT. A quick clarification, if possible. How is it I can understand the man and he me? Presumably, he speaks Aramaic.
Ooh,
so
amazing.
I'm sort of just testing its
You've
logic.
always got to break the fourth wall, haven't you?
Sorry.
And you make him work hard because now he's got to scramble for an answer. He's like, there's like he says here, that's a good point, Tan. Quick, let me check my notes. Yeah. Given that you've travelled back in time, you would indeed have a language barrier to contend with. However, in this particular case, it's likely that the man you're speaking with understands Greek.
Oh, no problem.
Which is a common language of the time and place. How's your Greek?
Pretty basic.
It's also possible that you're able to understand Aramaic, the primary language of Galilee at the time, due to some sort of magical or technological invention.
What? I thought it's been like, you know what? You've got me here.
Some sort of magic. So
it's like, oh, fucking hell, I just can't work it out. It's magic or technology, I don't know.
It's the blagger in chief, as we were saying, ChatGPT. It's just a plausible thing.
When you can't answer a question, like when a kid goes, why is this like this?
Just because.
It's just magic, all right?
Some sort of magic. Or technological.
Yeah. Well, technological invention could be Google Translate on your phone, maybe. Yeah. Maybe you're talking through that and it's talking back.
But then you'd win the game by
having
doing that. I'd love it to just be like, look, Tan, this is a, just you can speak Aramaic, you've gone back in time, for Christ's sake. Like, don't worry about the language. But no, that's
exactly what it says here. It says, regardless of the reason, for the purpose of sorry, this is just so funny. Regardless of the reason, for the purposes of this game, we'll assume you'll be able to communicate effectively with the people of the time. Just don't worry yet. Don't get bogged down on the details, okay? Let's just assume we can all talk the same language. Now, back to your decision.
Stop wasting my time, Tan.
Just quickly brush that aside. The stall owner looks pleased by your acceptance of the job. Excellent. I'm glad to have you on board, he says. Let's get started right away. I've got a shipment of spices that needs to be unloaded from the caravan, and I could use some help carrying the crates. As you work with the stall owner, you learn more about the various goods he sells, as well as the customs and traditions of the people of the time. What would you like to do next?
And I'm sort of thinking in the back of my mind, yes, I've got a job and I'm trying to just go steady here, but I really want to meet the big guy. So I say,
Cut to the chase.
I'd like to ask if he knows a bloke called Jesus, though I say he may know him better as Joshua ben Joseph, which I think is what he was actually known as. I think Jesus is from the Greek, so that was a later addition, but he would have been known as Joshua.
Well, if you just said Jesus, though, you should have been corrected by,
I've got a feeling. I should have tested that. I've got a feeling it would have gone me like, oh yeah, Jesus, that bloke over there with the beard. Yeah, but I say Joshua ben Joseph, a carpenter, big on magic tricks and the kingdom of the poor. He has a big gang with him, and he likes singing. Most of them do, actually.
Does he like singing? I never knew about that.
Well, you'll see where I'm going with that.
Oh, okay. You're adding this. This is.
Are you going to try and
twist?
write Jesus Christ Superstar
Maybe.
or something?
Oh.
You're transparent.
So the stall owner looks at you curiously for the moment and then nods. Oh, yes, I know of him, he says. He's been causing quite a stir around here lately. Some people say he's a prophet. Others say he's a troublemaker. He's also been performing miracles, healing the sick and feeding the hungry. Oh, God, what a troublemaker. That sounds awful. Yeah, he's aware of him. That's good.
Yeah, that is good. And I say, I realise I don't even know the name of my benefactor, so I ask him his name, then ask him for his advice on which commodity he thinks is most likely to bear fruit should I wish to go into business on my own in Galilee. You see, I want to have a bit of capital before I head over to Jesus and try to put my plan into action.
And it says, you realise that you haven't even asked the name of the stall owner who has offered you employment. I'm sorry, you say. I don't even know your name yet. The stall owner chuckles. I'm not... Fucking hell. No worries, my
You
friend.
made Tan do the grunt.
I know. No, I said my thing. I thought about it. I was like, I'm not doing that. And I was like,
Playback.
yeah, I was like, I have to do it, don't I? I've walked myself into that. The stall owner chuckles. No worries, my friend. My name is Isaac. Isaac nods, then listens attentively as you explain your plan to accumulate wealth before approaching Joshua ben Joseph. That's a smart move, Tan. As for which commodity is most likely to bear fruit, I would recommend spices. They're always in demand, and we have a good supply of them here in Galilee. He gestures to the various jars of sacks and spices on display. We got everything from cinnamon to cumin to saffron.
I'd like to become a saffron baron, and I'd like to be known as Baron Saffron.
Saffron is very, very pricey.
Well, that's it. I was like, if someone offers you copper or gold, you go for gold, don't you? You don't look around.
Isaac nods thoughtfully at your decision. Saffron, eh? He loves a little. It just takes me back to the. It takes me back.
Chicken,
yeah, that's exactly what came to my mind.
Saffron, eh?
That's a good choice. It's one of the most valuable spices around, and we have a good supply on it here at Galilee. But be warned, it's not an easy market to break into. There are already some well-established saffron traders in the area, and they don't take kindly to newcomers trying to muscle in on their turf. He looks you up and down and then grins. But hey, if anyone could do it, it's you, Baron Saffron. Oh, is that your name now?
I already named you.
Baron Saffron.
Nice. It's like nominative determinism.
Yeah. I like the sound of that. You've got moxie, my friend. Moxie.
I think that's like chutzpah, like just sort of like swagger or ambition or something.
I didn't come on it because I thought everyone just knows what that word is. But yeah, thank you for praising
Yeah,
that.
I guessed. I presume that's it.
I can see you making your name for yourself around this town. Isaac gives you a rundown of the various saffron producers and traders in the area and offers to introduce you to some of them.
What's in it for him?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Like, surely he's just setting up a competitor.
He's giving you a place to live,
Yeah.
a job.
He's old. He's enthused by my energy.
Maybe you're his lasting legacy.
Oh,
Sort of like that. So
interesting.
he's just handing everything over. When you become really successful, it's like, I was responsible for that.
That's me.
Yeah.
I was his mentor. I taught him everything he knows.
Yeah.
He was once my barrow boy in the market. He'll say stuff like that.
I gave him the title Baron Saffron. That catchy title.
Now, have you got like a uniform, under your cloak? Is it like a Superman?
I think so. I'd like to think it's probably red, as in like I've got so much saffron. I've just like got it everywhere.
You're just rolling in it.
So yeah, that's probably what I'm
Dripping
going
in
for.
saffron.
Yeah.
But yeah, he gives you a rundown of the various saffron producers and traders and offers you to introduce you to some of them. He also gives you some advice on how to negotiate prices and transport the saffron safely. It seems like you've got a solid plan in place, Baron Saffron. You'll need to work hard and stay focused, but with Isaac's help and your own resourcefulness, you might just succeed. What would you like to do next?
I'd like to meet one of the local saffron merchants and work out a plan to cripple his business so I can step in. Taking a leaf out of your book here, Keon.
Yeah, you got to be ruthless.
Don't be too kind.
Absolutely. Isaac recommends a local saffron merchant named Mordecai who has a near monopoly on the saffron trade in the region. However, he's also known to be ruthless and cutthroat in his business dealings, and he has made many enemies over the years. That's my kind of guy. Isaac agrees to set up a meeting with Mordecai, but warns you to be careful. This guy is no pushover, Baron Saffron, he says.
Not much difference.
No, it's not.
It was subtle, but subtle difference.
It's more your facial expressions.
Yes. Oh, what a shame. No one can see those. He's got his fingers in a lot of pies, and he won't take kindly to someone trying to muscle in on his territory.
I think this is the most named characters in a playthrough.
Yeah.
You know, there's not normally this much like dialogue or people with names.
It's weird. It was like,
Yeah.
right, we're doing lots of characters today.
And you didn't change the prompt or anything.
No, just went with it.
Nice.
Loves it. A few days later, you meet with Mordecai at his shop. Oh, guess what? He's a burly man with a thick beard and piercing eyes. And he seems to be sizing you up as you enter. You explain your interest in the saffron trade and your desire to establish your own business in the area. Mordecai listens silently and gives you a cold smile.
Ooh.
I see, he says. So you think you can just waltz on in here, take over my business, do you? You must be quite confident, Baron Saffron. How do you know your name? Or perhaps just foolish.
He's threatening,
he's
isn't
not
he?
happy to see you, is he? He leans in close to you, his breath hot on your face. Let me give you a piece of advice, young man. This is my town and my trade. I don't take kindly to outsiders trying to muscle in on my turf. If you want to play in my sandbox, you're going to have to pay a heavy price. He's laid down the law, isn't he?
He's talking tough.
What would you like to do, Baron? Game Master's calling you Baron Saffron now as well. Like,
I think Game Master's in my corner here.
Yeah.
Do you think I'm going to go meekly or not?
I mean,
Just have a little guess.
I don't
What do you think, Ryan?
I think you're gonna probably headbutt him or.
Well,
Oh, no, really?
I'd like to distract his attention, and then when he's not looking, quickly tie his sandal laces together so he falls over.
Interesting approach.
You decide to try a risky move to distract Mordecai and gain his upper hand. As he continues to glare at you, you suddenly point behind him and shout, "Look, it's the high priest!" Mordecai turns his head quickly, looking over his shoulder. It's just enough of a distraction for you to quickly kneel down and tie his sandal laces together. As Mordecai turns back around to face you, he takes a step forward and stumbles, his feet caught in the tangled laces. He flails his arms wildly, trying to regain his balance, but it's no use. With a loud crash, he falls to the ground in a heap.
And therefore, his saffron business is yours.
And that's the end. That's all it takes.
Well, let's see.
You quickly take advantage of the situation and make a run for it, leaving Mordecai lying on the ground behind you. You can hear him cursing and shouting in anger as you disappear into the crowded market. It's a risky move, but it seems to have paid off.
How?
Because Mordecai is likely to be embarrassed and injured, which may give you an opportunity to move on in his saffron trade.
What?
Yeah, because he's injured. You know, he's got to have some time off.
He's fallen
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
Oh, he's no businessman anymore.
He's out of action, so and he's embarrassed. You know, everyone's seen that.
Yeah.
And he's kind of made him look a fool in front of everyone. So he's lost his dignity. What would you like to do next, Baron Saffron?
And I just seized the moment. It seemed like the right time for this. I'd like to jump onto his donkey and gallop to his estate.
Stealing his donkey.
So he's got a.
I just assumed.
I mean, I bet there is.
There'll be a donkey.
There's no chance in hell Game Master's going to go, what donkey?
Sorry, no donkeys. Pick another option. Yeah.
And galloping on a donkey?
They can gallop, yeah. This one can, yeah.
Of course.
Yeehaw!
And you chose, because I'm picturing there's loads of donkeys around. You've chosen specifically his donkey.
Yeah, it's like just covered in saffron memorabilia.
Wow.
I'm guessing.
And I guess like he'll know the way as well.
Yeah,
Because how are you not going to know the way?
So
Are
I'm
you?
just like, yeah, go.
Come on, donkey, off to his
Off we
estate.
go. Yeah, home we go. Home, James.
You quickly scan the crowded market for an opportunity to escape unnoticed. Spotting Mordecai's donkey nearby you, you make a dash for it and jump onto his back. You kick the animal's sides and begin to gallop through the busy streets, leaving the market behind. You feel a rush of adrenaline as you realize that you successfully outmaneuvered one of the most powerful saffron merchants in the region.
It's hardly outmaneuvering him, is it? Pushing him over and stealing his donkey.
Why has no one thought about this before? So easy, yeah. As you arrive at the estate, you see a group of armed guards standing at the gate. They look surprised to see you, and one of them steps forward to block your path. What's the meaning of this? He demands. Who are you, and why are you riding Mordecai's donkey?
Fair enough.
Yeah, this is perfectly reasonable so far.
But then, I like this. It jumps ahead and doesn't give me a chance to answer it. It just answers for me.
Oh.
It's jump. Yeah, it's sort of
3 days later, as you recover in Mordecai's swimming
hospital.
pool. Yeah. Oh, hospital.
It takes the lead to ChatGPT and says, you take a deep breath and try to sound confident. I'm Baron Saffron, you say, and I'm here to discuss the business proposition with Mordecai. I believe he'll want to hear what I have to say. The guard eyes you skeptically, then nods to one of his companions. Take him to the boss, he says. Let's see what he has to say for himself.
Now, that's quite weird because it sort of says the guards know. They're like, why are you on my boss's donkey? And then...
They know he's not in.
Yeah, they know he's not in. And I'm like, I'm here to see your boss.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, we'll take you through.
Is the boss going to have teleported there?
Yeah.
He had a second donkey that was faster round the back.
You're led through the gates and into the sprawling estate. As you pass through the gardens and courtyards, you can't help but marvel at the opulence and wealth on display. Mordecai is clearly a man of great means, and he's not likely to let go of his power and influence without a fight. Right, so you know he's not going to be there. So what was your intention?
What on earth was I thinking?
Why were you going to his estate, or is that going to be?
I think I didn't really know. I was just I panicked in the marketplace.
Clearly.
And I just wanted to look around and get a sense of, if I were to become a saffron baron, what sort of opulence, what sort of lifestyle would be open to me. And so I want to get a measure of this man, and maybe I can sort of somehow turn his people against him. I think that's where I was going with it.
Okay. And also, you just wanted to wander around his house. What was that show where you went around celebrities' houses and looked in their fridges?
Cribs.
Cribs.
Yeah.
So it was like Saffron Cribs. You just wanted to see what the local celebrities' lifestyles were like.
Yeah, very much. He's obviously he's got a good donkey.
He's got like the fastest donkey in the land.
But I was thinking as well, I was walking quite a dangerous tightrope here because I'm claiming that I'm there to see their boss. I'm riding his donkey, and he's obviously not going to be there. So I was a bit nervous. So I said, as an insurance policy, I snatch up a handful of dirt from the flower patch so I can throw it in a guard's face if I need to leave in a hurry. But then I make my play. I select the man I take to be the head of Mordecai's personal guard, and I tell him I will double his salary and that of all Mordecai's employees if he helps me take over Mordecai's estate.
Okay.
Sneaky.
Well,
and I just as a mini spoiler, I love the way ChatGPT interpreted that and deals with it.
It says, as you're being led through Mordecai's estate, you quickly grab a handful of dirt from a nearby flower patch and stuff it in your pocket. It's a small insurance policy just in case things don't go as planned and you need a quick escape. As you're brought before the head of Mordecai's personal guard, you notice that he's a tall, imposing figure with a scar running down his left cheek.
Ooh.
He regards you with a cold stare, clearly unimpressed by your presence. You take a deep breath and make your pitch. I'm Baron Saffron, you say, and I have a proposition for you. I want to take over Mordecai's estate and his saffron trade, and I'm willing to pay handsomely for your help. The head of the guard raises an eyebrow. And why should I help you, he asks. What makes you think you can succeed where so many others have failed? Well, I tied his shoelaces. I said, look, it's the high priest, and he fell over.
Where's the donkey? He hasn't got it. Yeah.
But your answer is actually this. You pull out a small pouch of coins and toss it onto the table in front of him. Very rock and roll. Yeah. Because I'm willing to pay double what Mordecai is paying you and all of his employees, you say. Think about it. With that kind of money, you could live like a king. You could retire to the coast or buy your own vineyard. You could have anything you want. The head of the guard eyes the pouch of coins, then looks up back at you. How do you know you can deliver on your promises, he asks. You take a deep breath. You're doing a lot of deep breaths, aren't you? Very calm, keeping your composure.
Keeping calm, and it's a high-pressure situation, as you'll see from what I say next, apparently.
So you decide to lay all your cards on the table, and you say, because I have a secret weapon.
What?
Reaching into your pocket and pulling out a handful of dirt. I have something that can blind a man in an instant. And if you don't help me, I'll use it on you, and your men will all leave you helpless.
That's what it thinks. The dirt in the pocket is the secret answer.
Yeah, it's a secret weapon to blind people.
Blind you! No one has ever seen this before.
The head of the guard looks at you with a mix of curiosity and suspicion. He seems to be weighing his options, trying to decide whether to side with you or stick with Mordecai.
I mean, that's not a decision, surely. Like a madman's come in and says he's going to throw dirt in your face and pay you double.
So I was a bit taken aback by this, and so I say, Jesus Christ, I didn't see that coming, Game Master. You dropped me right in it. I hope like fuck he doesn't ask for a demonstration of this high-grade mud weapon. Instead, I will explain I come from a land where a different business principle rules, and that a company called John Lewis, no relation to John the Baptist, I say, the employees are all part owners of the business. And that not only are they among the most satisfied employees in my land, but John Lewis also has some of the finest market produce available. After all, I say with a wink, you don't get a name like Baron Saffron by being shit at business, do you?
The head of the guard listens to your explanation with interest, his eyes narrowing as you mention the John Lewis Company and its unique ownership structure.
So dry.
He seems intrigued by the idea of employees being part owners of the business and asks you to explain more about how it works. God, you're going to have to do a business pitch about John Lewis now. You launch into a passionate speech about the benefits of employee ownership, and the head of guard listens intently, nodding occasionally and asking you questions as you speak. As you finish your speech, the head of guard looks at you thoughtfully. You're a persuasive man, Baron Saffron, he says, and I can see you're passionate about what you believe in. I'll think about your proposition and we'll see what happens. You realise you may have just dodged a bullet, Baron Saffron. It seems your quick thinking and business acumen have once again served you well. What would you like to do next?
So I ask him, and I sense this is really the crucial moment, ask him, well, what do you say, Captain of the Guard? Are you Captain of Mordecai's Guard? Or Captain of Baron Saffron's Guard? And that's where we're going to leave our adventure for today.
What? Come on.
Cliffhanger of all cliffhangers.
There's definitely a clear and present danger that this guy might have just become sick of my shit at this point.
He seemed really annoyed.
Well, he's got a scar down his face.
He's weighing up whether to stick a knife in my head or get on board.
I mean, surely he's going to stick a knife at you. So you
He
rocked
sounds
up
like a
on
bad
his
guy.
master's donkey.
Yeah.
And you've just said, I'll give you more money to work for me.
Yeah. And we're just waiting to see what he says. And
Well, logically, he'll kill you, but I'm going to guess...
Game Master will be all on board with it. Yeah, I've also threatened to kill him with my weird mud weapon that can blind him and all of his men.
They all seem to believe that as well. They're all like, stand back, he's got the mud thing.
He's got the mud in his pocket.
I'm kind of hoping that it plays out and we learn more about this crazy mud weapon. So presumably, obviously, this is a pre-record, a pre-playthrough. Yeah. So Tan knows the answer.
I know the answer.
Don't.
When are we going to meet Jesus? That's what I want to know.
Well, that might come up in part 2.
So you're going to wrap up the Saffron storyline with Jesus, or
I'm going to try and blend the two together. I think there's no reason they can't coexist.
Well, what have we learned?
We've learned that ChatGPT has got its eye on playing the game. It doesn't want to get bogged down in too much detail, like how I can understand people. It would rather say, here's some magic, let's just get on with the game, please, mate.
I thought that was hilarious that it actually said, shut up, this is a game. Like,
stop being pedantic.
It's magical, right?
It's magic or some kind of technology, surely you can understand. I've learned that, surprisingly, it can come up with characters with a little bit more substance.
Yeah.
I mean, to date, the non-playable characters have been pretty poor.
They've been paper thin, haven't they, so far?
But
putting me through my paces with all the voices.
I mean, they're all still a bit too burly.
They're all burly,
bushy bearded.
Yeah.
That's like, how can I really give this character some depth? Oh, he's burly, bushy beard, and he looks at you suspiciously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where we should challenge it, to try and find a skinny person with no beard.
I think, okay, so that notes ourselves. Next prompt, we got to try and get it to put some flesh on these
These other characters.
And I do think it seems to be more up for challenging you. Like it's less kind of have whatever you want. It's actually trying to sort of, make you work. And that's why this cliffhanger is quite exciting, because I don't know which way he's going to go. Because I actually think you could find yourself like in a little cage waiting for Mordecai to turn up and being like, where is he then?
Yeah. I think, what do you think Mordecai would do if he came back and I'd been captured by the guard? Probably have me tortured or something.
Well, I don't think ChatGPT is ruthless enough to torture you, but like maybe you become like a servant or something. He gives you like you're like the jester when he needs to entertain for people, and you come out and you've got to learn an instrument or something.
Yeah, just scrobbling around with my mud.
Yeah,
your mud weapons.
Just running around throwing mud into the face of people who Mordecai commands. Yeah.
So Keon, where do you think the cliffhanger is going to end? Where's Tan going to take this?
Well, I think he's in a spot of bother. And I know that he's there in search of Jesus, so this might be his way to get Mordecai to sort of like forgive him. Be like, look, I tell you what, like, you don't have to trust me, but I'll find someone who will like solve all your problems. And
so Jesus is going to come and be the intermediary.
Yeah. He's like, I know this guy, and maybe that's how we introduce him, because Mordecai will just get one of his cronies to go and find this man, Joseph.
I'm a bit worried that Tan's going to make Baron Saffron like one of the other dudes on the cross next to Jesus.
Oh no!
Just chatting to him, like, I've got some saffron business.
That's so Monty Python. Oh dear.
We'll have to see.
Okay. It's been, a couple of weeks since we published the first episode of PastMaster Online. We've had loads of great feedback from people. Thank you to everyone who has left us a positive review.
Shout out to Josh Gill. Really, really kind of you to say. This is fantastic, he says. Helen Cassidy. Julie Simpson, Shane Brennan, Chris Mason, Jasper Fulcher, Chris Dillon, Mike Krachowski. I know he's been listening as well. All the gang. Appreciate all your support.
Yeah, if you've been enjoying the show, please either leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, or tell somebody you know, get them to have a listen. We really appreciate all the support. You can get in touch with us. We are on Twitter at PastmasterAI.
We are on Instagram at PastMasterPod.
You can email us at pastmasterpod@gmail.com if you want to write something longer, like giving us some well-needed feedback about how we can make this better.
Yeah, follow us on socials, and there's also, if you sign up to our newsletter, we will send you the prompt so you can play the game yourself and let us know. That's all for this week. We're going to find out what happens to Baron Saffron next week. Don't miss it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.